Here?
Yes, please. And do you have a parent here with you? If you could ask your parent to come forward, and then perhaps, I think there's a note that someone's going to help interpret for your parent. Do I have that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So on there, Your Honor, we
Daughter will interpret.
yeah,
Okay.
so it is the defendant who would be interpreting for whoever. So it's they're comfortable with that.
I may be. Let me take a look at the case and see if that makes sense. So, Ms. Cadena, I understand that you speak English, but your mother speaks Spanish. Is that correct?
Yes.
So what we're going to do is call we have a phone line that we can call an interpreter to be on the line for. Because of the type of charge that you're facing, a criminal charge, we need to have a professional interpreter interpreting for your mom because you're under the age of 18. So if you could tell her that.
And Your Honor, do you want to actually ask them if they would prefer the phone or an in-person interpreter? We do have one coming and we don't have any interpreter.
But that's at 10:30, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in about an hour.
So we can go a couple different directions for you. We'll probably work on a few cases before we call the interpreter because it takes a little while to get that person on the line. We also have someone coming in person at 10:30, which is an hour and a half from now. We could have you on that docket if you'd prefer, or if you're willing to wait about 20 or 30 minutes, we can do it via phone.
Yeah, we'll wait at 10:30.
You want to do the 10:30? Okay, so we'll just have you can come back if you want to leave and come back at 10:30. You can check back in then.
Yeah.
And we'll recall your case then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Engelstad, good morning. Got a sleeping child. So I'm sorry, my voice will have to be loud enough at least to get recorded, but there are two charges pending for you. There's a charge of having an aggressive animal and a charge of having a dog at large. Both of these allegedly occurred on October 12th of 2025 at Judson and Darley. A couple of different options available to you. If you'd like to discuss the case with the prosecutor, you have the option of doing that this morning. If you needed to continue so that you could come back on a date that's more convenient, that's fine with us as well. I do want to point out that in aggressive animal cases, if someone pleads guilty or is found guilty of the charge, that before we go forward with sentencing, I would be ordering an evaluation of the dog with one of our agencies, which includes the Boulder Valley Humane Society. So just like for people to be aware of that before they make a decision. You do have the option today of speaking with the prosecutor, pleading not guilty and setting for trial, or pleading guilty to the charge. How would you like to proceed today?
Could I speak with the prosecutor?
You can, yes. And will that be with you, Ms. Keller?
That will, yeah.
All right. She's already made friends with your child. I was watching. So.
I really like his Halloween pajamas.
All right. So we'll see you back here in just a few minutes. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
We're going to pull up your case, Mr. Sinwari. So there was a charge of smoking prohibited in a public area that was initiated on September 21st of 2025. We were expecting you on the 14th of October, and I think I just saw that we had issued a warrant when you did not appear. I made that PR bond eligible, and I don't know if you learned about that from the police department or whether you just came in this morning for your court date.
Yeah, I just came in this morning.
Okay, so we've canceled the warrant. Do you want to tell me what happened as far as appearing on your court date?
I think so there was a paper in there. I did inside the court date and everything. So that's why I did not know about it. And I just give a call to the court. And then they said that I have to come inside of the court.
Okay. So on the citation, on the summons that you got, that document, it does have the court date on it. And I'm just kind of taking a look at that. So did you not see that on the ticket that they gave to you?
The ticket that I have, it doesn't really show it, or maybe I was mistaken.
It might have been you might have been mistaken because I'm looking at it. Although I have to say I don't like when the officers write it the way they wrote it because they fill in and it says coming out. You're supposed to come at 8:30 a.m. on the 14th day of, and then they put 10, which is the month, and that may have been confusing. But I've asked the police department to not do that because I think some people expect to see the name of the month instead of the number of the month. But in any event, you're here. I'm not going to charge the warrant fee or the FTA fee, so you can waive those, Sabrina. And you're here now. The charge is smoking in public. That's a violation of section 643.5 of the Boulder Revised Code. A couple of different ways you could proceed with that charge. You could plead guilty to the charge. I'd be imposing a fine. You could plead not guilty and talk to a prosecutor if you'd like to discuss the case first before moving forward. Or you could set the case for trial. And you could talk to them first and decide whether you wanted to set for trial. So a couple of different ways to proceed. What would you like to do?
I mean, I was like smoking inside of my car. So I don't really know. I wasn't outside.
Okay, well, do you want to have a conversation with them to see if what they would say about that? No, you want to plead guilty to the charge? All right, let me go ahead and accept that plea. It is to the charge of smoking in public. When you plead guilty, you're giving up your right to trial and all the other rights that I've described to you. Do you understand that? Are you doing that voluntarily today? Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty? And are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol? Do you understand this charge of smoking in public? Do you agree that there's evidence to support that charge?
Yes.
You're doing this without a lawyer. You don't have to have a lawyer, but I have to make sure you understand you have the right to have a lawyer. Do you understand that? Are you comfortable going forward without a lawyer? And do you understand a lawyer might do a better job of representing you than you do representing yourself?
I understand.
All right. Did you graduate high school or obtain a GED?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to find that it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty. It is to the charge of smoking in public in violation of section 643.5 of the Boulder Revised Code on September 29th of 2025 at 2800 Flagstaff Road. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
I'll accept the guilty plea. I'm going to read the report from the officer here. I want to look at the ordinance just to see how they define this, because it's an interesting, I don't often see a smoking ticket issued to someone inside of their vehicle. So I'm going to take a quick look at the ordinance. So it doesn't specifically say that it's an exception if you're inside of your vehicle, although the purpose of the ordinance is really to protect those spaces where if someone is smoking outside in a public area, like up at Flagstaff Mountain, if you're outside.
I was smoking inside my car. They came in and when they told me to get out of the car, they told me to put the cigarette down.
Yeah, I've decided I'm not going to impose a fine on this. I'm going to give you a warning. I'm going to impose a fine, but suspend it and close the case, because I think it's arguable that the purpose of the ordinance is to create public safety or to not expose others to smoke in public areas, but that wasn't the circumstances, even as outlined by the officer's notes. So on this, I'm just going to impose a $50 fine, but I'm going to suspend it, and you are free to go. Thank you for coming to court.
Thank you.
And good morning, sir. Mr. Mosler, there are two charges for you. The first charge is a charge of having a dog at large. And then the second charge is having an aggressive animal. You may have heard me speak to that other woman when she first came forward. She had the exact same charges. Wanted to make sure you and your daughter are aware that if you were to plead guilty to the aggressive animal charge, there would have to be an evaluation of your dog, which I look at before I impose sentence, so that whenever conditions I place as part of sentence are consistent with what's in the best interests of the dog and of the community as a whole. So I would just like for people to be aware of that. You haven't entered a plea of any sort yet, but I wanted to make sure you were aware that that would be the possibility. You do have the right to speak with the prosecutor this morning. If you'd like to discuss your case with one of them, you could have a conversation with the prosecutor. You could also plead not guilty and set the case for trial, or you could plead guilty to the charge. How would you like to proceed today? All right, so when you say keep going, does it?
Do you want to make a statement?
Huh?
Did you want to make a statement?
I would like to give some background information about.
Okay, so before you do that, let's talk about the timing of giving that. It might be helpful to share that with a prosecutor. I'd like for people to understand, as a judge, I'm in between. I'm here. You've got the prosecutor over here, and then defendant over here. So I don't have the ability to make plea bargain offers. I can't even dismiss a charge if I think it's appropriate to do so, because I have to have a full trial before I can simply dismiss a charge. I have to be convinced or not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty. So I can't dismiss it, even if Mother Teresa's standing right there. I can't dismiss the charge for her. So, but the prosecutors can, and they can also make plea bargain offers that might be fair to people. So I always encourage people to have a conversation with them. If there's some facts that you want to share that you think might influence how they proceed with the case, that might be a good way to proceed as a first step. And so we've got two prosecutors this morning. One of them is working with some CU students right now. The other is meeting with the other woman that had the aggressive animal charge. If you'd like to wait a few minutes and have a conversation with her, that might be a good next step.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'll ask you to do Yeah, it looked like you had something that you wanted to say. I don't want you to go through your whole speech with me until you talk to a prosecutor, because the only time I can hear a report of like that would be after someone pleads guilty. And I don't want to do that I want to give you the chance to talk to her first. But if you'll put your name on that list that's to your left on that table, you'd be the first one to speak with the prosecutor. That's their list of people that are waiting to speak with them.
How long will this take?
It shouldn't take very long. You're first in line to speak with her.
I've got a wife at home with Alzheimer's on it.
I appreciate that then. Yeah, you'll be first up, and then that conversation that you have with her could be, or with him, depending on which one it is, could be a 5 or 10 minute conversation, and then you'll come back in front of me.
So we'll just sit back down then.
Yes, please. Thank you. Good morning to you, Mr. King. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. As you can see that we don't have either Dara or Sebastian here in the courtroom.
I did speak to Sebastian just a little bit ago
Did you?
when I first got in.
And did he?
I did forget that my actual court time was supposed to be like at 9:30, I think it was.
I think if we've appointed the public defender for your case, then that would be right. She starts at 9:30.
Yep, I got here a little bit early.
Okay, so we'll just hold that because since she's representing, well,
And I'm here.
Miss
so
Talina's
I can
here.
talk, yeah.
okay, great. We'll let you all have a conversation, and you might want to fill in, Ms. Talina, on what you and Sebastian were talking about as well, so that we can all be on the same page, but we'll see you back after you and Ms. Talina have met.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Our system tricks us when there's more than one last name.
Oh,
So
sorry.
I called you as Munoz, but is it Caballero Munoz? Okay, thank you. Good morning to you, sir. There's one charge for you. It's failing to have a permit as required for commercial uses. That's a violation of section 889 of the Boulder Revised Code. You have a couple different options. You've heard me with others describing the options. One option would be to speak with a prosecutor. Sometimes it's worthwhile to have a conversation with them and see what type of offer they can make to resolve the case. So that's an option. You could plead not guilty and set the case for trial, or you could plead guilty to the charge.
Yes, please, talk to a prosecutor. Please.
Okay, so that just to your left on that, there's a sheet of paper. If you'll write your name down there so that our prosecutors know the order that people are here to see them. And then if you'll have a seat, they'll call you up.
Thank you, Your
You're
Honor.
welcome.
Your Honor, I've had a conversation with Ms. Engelstad this morning. There are 2 charges in this case, one charge of aggressive animal and one charge of dog at large. After speaking with Ms. Engelstad, I think our best course of action here is to ask for a continuance. I know she's thinking about potentially rehoming the dog. And so I want to give her a few weeks to consider her options and for us to get her a final restitution number
Oh.
before she proceeds in this case.
Okay, that makes sense to me then. So Ms. Engelstad, what we'll be doing is just sending you out front. Our clerk will get you a new court date. It'll be about 2 weeks out, maybe 2 to 3 weeks out. So, and then you can come back at that point after you've had a chance to evaluate the circumstances and you've already had a conversation with Ms. Keller. So perhaps she's told you what she might be willing to do in connection with the case. So if you'll do that, we'll see you back in a few weeks.
Thank you.
And we can make Zoom an option. So if now that you've heard the advisement, if you want to come in person, you can. If you want to come by Zoom, that'd be fine as well.
Great, thanks.
Good morning, Ms. Custon. One charge for you, Ms. Custon, is a charge of having an aggressive animal. As you've probably heard me with others, a couple different ways to proceed. What would you like to do this morning?
I would like to talk with the president.
Okay, if you'll put your name on that list, then they will be with you in just a little bit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And are you Shannon?
Yes.
All right. All right. Good morning to you. I have one charge for you, Mr. Cropper, that's a charge of building fires on public property. And you've heard me talk with others, a couple of different ways that you could proceed here today. You could plead not guilty and set that case for trial. You could also speak with a prosecutor. Sometimes it's worthwhile to have a conversation with one of them to see if you can work out a resolution with the case. So those are a couple of options. You always have the right to plead not guilty and set the case for trial. So a couple of different ways to proceed.
We need to speak with the prosecutor to show medical documentation.
Okay, that sounds like a good start then. So if you'll just have a seat, but if you'll first put your name on that list, Mr. Cropper, we'll have you put that there. And then the prosecutors will call you up when it's time to have that conversation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.